Welcome to Be Tackling Learning. This is your front row preview for today's live learning session on Copilot Can Do More Than That, the IT Leader's Guide to Scaling Copilot Adoption, part of our Microsoft 365 Community Conference sponsor webinar series. We'll be live streaming across platforms for the next 20 minutes to give folks on social a taste of this learning experience, real insights, and practical strategies you can use right away. Afterward, the full session with live Q&A continues in the BTech Learning Center. Click the link in the comments to watch directly and join us so you don't miss a thing. All right, let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so excited to be with you today to jump into the details on Copilot Can Do More Than That. We're so excited. Anne, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks so much, Chandler. We're really excited to be here today.
Anne and I, Anne represents Microsoft and the Global Skilling Program, and I represent BrainStorm and our Learning Experience Department. Together, we bring a significant amount of experience helping AI adoption become successful in real organizations. And we're so excited to have the opportunity to share more with you today. As we get started, always want to just hit off on a couple of quick logistical items. Yes, we are recording the session and we're excited to provide that to you following today's discussion. Additionally, Anne and I are here to help. That is our number one objective, is to help you be successful with Copilot and help your organization adopt Copilot to transformative levels. So as we go through today's session, I hope you're asking questions and providing comments. We are going to have a Q&A session at the end of our time together today, and we hope to get into your questions and answers. If it so happens that we have too many to get to today, we'd love to follow up and just be helpful. That's the goal, right? So, you know a little bit about us, and we're going to jump right into our topic today. The agenda is going to be pretty fast-paced. We're trying to cover a lot of ground. Initially, we're going to set kind of the stage, help us understand a little bit more what's going on and the mindset that we might need to have for successful Copilot adoption. Then we'll jump into scenarios. We will show you live Copilot capability that represents more than what you might be taking advantage of today. And then we'll follow that up with what's next. Where should we go next? And how should we be thinking about being more successful with Copilot? And then, as promised, we're going to get into a great Q&A session. So with that, Anne, let's jump in and get started, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're here today, we can assume maybe a couple of things. One is you're looking to do more with Copilot. Either individually, you're hoping to unlock more capability, but in addition to that, you're a leader, an influencer, someone that's guiding AI adoption in your organization, and you're looking to help lift the entire organization to more transformative benefits with Copilot. But the truth is, we get it. Change is hard. AI adoption can be complex and complicated at the same time. And many organizations are sort of in a similar place where there's some confusion, there's a little bit noise going on, some dust in the air, if you will. And many of us have come to an appreciation that there's some value still left on the table, and we're trying to figure out how to get it. And as you work with customers, I'm sure you're seeing much of the same stuff, right? How are customers feeling right now as they think about AI adoption?
Oh, Chandler, you hit it spot on. I mean, we're navigating a lot of things right now, right? This shift into AI is really making us think about new ways of working, new expectations, and it's not easy. And it feels a little messy and kind of uncertain at times when I talk to my customers in the industry. It's not a signal that they're behind. It's actually a signal that we're all in it and we're moving in the right direction. And this is a struggle that we see that comes with these major shifts of transformation, right? Yeah. I think the thing to remember is that, you're not alone. We're seeing this across every organization, across every industry, every sector. Teams learning, they're experimenting, and they're figuring out how to do it as they go. But the exciting thing is that we're seeing some progress, and we're excited to share that with you today. So I think the one thing we should probably be asking ourselves as we approach this as leaders is kind of, how do we take that next step? How do we move from these pockets of success to something that we can scale more with more intention and be more impactful for outcomes that really impact our business and really unlock the power of Copilot? So we're excited to get into it with you guys today.
Absolutely. And audience, you might only be alone if you think you've figured it all out, right? We're all working on this together, and the playbook is moving rapidly. But I guess our point, Anne, is that the playbook might need to be different as we're approaching AI adoption. What we're seeing is a lot of organizations are deploying licenses. They're sending out an email or two, kind of thing. They're providing some training, but they're really not seeing the transformative benefits of Copilot. You'll hear me say the word transformative probably too many times. So get your bingo cards out, right? But we're really trying to get to a different level of what AI can do and how it can change the workforce. And we see people rolling out stuff and maybe just not quite getting there. And I think what we're thinking and what we've seen from our seats, Anne, is that we're maybe we don't have the right playbook or the right perspective yet, and that may be something that's holding us back. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's so true. This AI adoption transformation is one that is very different from a traditional product launch that we've kind of done traditionally, right? I think with AI adoption, it really comes down to the people in your organization first. We're not just deploying a tool, right? It's about building trust with your organization, the confidence and the belief in themselves that can really help them see why AI is important and how it's really going to help them in their day-to-day work. And that mindset shift really, really matters. I see organizations that are making progress are the ones that are really focusing on that growth mindset and curiosity. You'll hear me say a lot, keeping the human at the center of AI, which is super critical, and creating a culture where people are continuously learning, they're experimenting, they're sharing what worked. More importantly, sometimes they're sharing what didn't work, so other people can jump in and they can find solutions and collaborate together. So it's really exciting to see kind of the shift of mindset. I always kind of think about it as we've been changing the tire from the outside. You get the jack, you take off the tire, you put the new one on, you lower the car and you drive off. Now with AI, we're having to think about solving problems in new ways. Maybe we have to flip the car over and change the tire from the inside, from a diagonal jack and all these things. But at the end of the day, you still change the tire. But we're really being forced to think about solutions and collaboration in a new way, which is super exciting, but can also be a little bit challenging for folks. So creating that psychological safety for your organization to do that with that growth mindset shift is critical.
Yeah, I love we could spend 2 hours unpacking everything you just said, Anne, because it was just so good. But if I may, let me highlight just a couple of things that really stand out to me. One is you're not just deploying a tool.
Correct.
And what you're saying, Anne, is like we need mindset shifts. We need culture change. We need psychological safety. We need to put humans in the center of it because, to add on to your analogy of kind of changing a tire, let's stay in the vehicle realm, right? And to me, we've spent so much time at work trying to optimize work, and we've developed software solutions to make the car go faster, to get from our current location to the intended destination, to get from A to B. How do I make it faster? How do I iterate?
Yeah.
But the truth is with AI, we no longer have to take a car at all. We have a helicopter at our disposal. And that's where the transformative mindset shift really plays in. So, folks, as you're thinking about Copilot success and adoption success, what I think we want you to know more than anything is that the traditional playbook of deploying a technology, deploying a license to something, and getting people to use that license is simply just not as sufficient as we need it to be to achieve AI success. So just, in another way to look at it is just comparing, well, if I'm deploying a software tool and I'm deploying an AI tool, what differences does that look like? For me, the software tool game was always about conformity, not because we desired like everyone to look the same, it was that the software tool had a defined set of use cases, a defined set of functionality. That was just the limitation of software. AI is not bound by that. So where with software, we're pushing for conformity. With AI, we're almost pushing for divergence, people to run with it. Where can you take this? What can you accomplish now? And that example in and of itself for me illustrates why our process and our perspective, frankly, just needs to evolve in order to hit new levels of success, right?
1,000%. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think, as you mentioned, the biggest gap in AI adoption isn't about access or launching a product. It has to do a lot with that mindset shift. I mean, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said it very well. We're going from a know-it-all culture to a learn-it-all culture. And having that kind of leadership set the pace of that mindset shift, I think, is super, super critical. So 3 things I think you need to walk away with just for this slide is, first, treat it as a culture shift and a behavioral change, not a product launch, right? Second of all, we want to make sure we give people time and permission to experiment daily in their flow of work and to share what's working. Leaders as well, and share what didn't work and why this prompt maybe wasn't the best and why I had to keep iterating on it to make it better and grow. And third, I think it's really important to celebrate those wins, to create momentum in your organization. Adoption doesn't scale through instruction alone. It scales through those water cooler stories that we tell our peers and things that we get excited about when we find a solution that works. And that's really when it becomes real. So being able to kind of think about those things, I think, is really important. Again, it's just not a technology shift. It's also a cultural and a leadership shift. Creating that culture, the experimentation, and that shared momentum. Those are really the things I'm seeing helping to unlock value.
Oh, so good. So those 3 things again are, you need to approach this as a cultural shift.
Correct.
Not just a technology shift. You need to develop space for experimentation. That space and time is so important because, like we talked about, Anne, it's not a defined set of capabilities. It is about creativity in so many ways.
People need to feel the tool and see why it really makes their job easier. And that aha moment when they really understand how that tool is helping them with their job be more efficient and drive more impact, that's where everything changes.
Totally. And then that third one, of course, is developing more communication, more virality, if you will, right? Yeah. Make AI more viral because there's so much capability. People need to be talking about it.
Yeah. Now, just Teams chats, Viva Engage, your champions communities, highlight best practices, celebrate big wins, celebrate small wins. Just create that energy, that belief, that momentum across your organization.
It's so true. And there are wins. That's what's so important about this is that so many people in the world right now are kind of stuck at what we could consider the AI status quo. Okay, yes, you're using AI as a better spell check, right? You're using AI as a better search engine. And those are big wins. I don't mean to minimize those.
No, yeah.
But there's so much more. And what we're seeing from the data is proving what we're suggesting. Microsoft research on frontier firms and frontier professionals, AKA champions, early adopters, trendsetters. 80% of them are doing work that they couldn't imagine doing last year, right? They're basically pushing the envelope in unprecedented ways. But unfortunately, not enough users are in that space yet, right? So we probably have a lot of people that are walking around thinking, AI can't do that. Copilot can't do that, And that's the myth, is that we walk around telling ourselves that, oh, I can't be helped, or there isn't another step here. But there absolutely is. And today we want to show you what that step might look like. So with that, let's jump into Copilot now. And as I do this, I want you to think about a couple of things. One is, are you using these types of tools personally? Because we got to walk the walk to talk the talk,
1,000%.
Sort of thing. And then on top of this, I like using these types of capabilities with Copilot as a litmus test for where my organization is at in our transformative abilities, right? I already mentioned one level of that litmus test is, are we using it as a better search tool? Are we using it as a better spell check? Okay, if we're doing that, good, level 1, right? But these capabilities that we're about to show you today, this represents higher order levels. And so with that, let's jump into Copilot. Okay.
Love it. Love it.
So, as I preface this, and Anne, you and I have talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
Copilot can look a little bit different for everyone. That's okay because it's moving fast. So my version that I'm showing you today might be a little bit different than the one you have in your organization. That's okay because today our discussion is largely conceptual in nature. This isn't a training session. This is what's possible. What should I be thinking about, right? So as I go through, maybe some buttons, clicks are going to be a little different for you, or maybe you won't have, based on governance, everything I'm going to show for you. But I do hope that as you go through this, you walk away thinking, could my users do that? Is my organization in a place to take advantage of something like that, right? And we're going to move fast. Again, I'm not promising training here, so I'm going to skip some of the how-to along the way to just give you that idea. But nonetheless, I'm in the browser for Copilot, and I'm just in chat here today. And I've got a prompt all queued up for us. It's a pretty straightforward one, and I want it to brief me on my day. Maybe I'm heading to the office, and I want to know what meetings are coming my way. Now, this is a prompt maybe you and I have used lots of times.
Yeah.
But what is maybe missing here, and I'm going to go run this prompt, and it'll just, do its automagic stuff really quick, is the automation of AI. That's a step that users just aren't taking is, I'm getting AI to work for me. How can AI work for me without me doing the work a little bit, right? So I've done this prep work and written the prompt and done all that sort of stuff, and it starts to get to work. But what is often hiding is treasure behind the three little dots.
Those ellipses.
Anywhere in Microsoft, you see little dots, right, Anne?
We love the ellipses.
Yeah, it's the X on the treasure map. And the one thing I want you looking at is the concept of scheduled prompts. How do I set up something to work consistently for me? Now, you see, demo gods are slowing me down a little bit here, but I've already prepped this sort of prompt, and Copilot gives me this great prompt of the meetings I'm headed to today. Again, look for the X on the treasure map, look for the ellipses, hit the dots, and if you want this every morning, let's schedule it. So I'm going to go in here, I'm not meeting Sundays and Saturdays, and I don't want it. I want it at, 7 a.m. And then I pick how long I want it to run for, maybe just a couple of weeks first to see if I like it, whatever. And then just a reminder that when I set this up, instead of me going to Copilot to set it up, and frankly, you're probably in Copilot a lot, which is great. But at 7 a.m., I just get an email, and I can check that email on my phone when I'm on the train. And so I know what I'm heading to work for, right? And my AI assistant is now feeling more like an assistant. It's being proactive. And all I had to do was do it once, set it up, and run with it. So scheduled prompts is example number one of Copilot can do more. It can do more for you. Example number two, let's go back to chat. And like I said, you might be using Copilot as a central point of gravity in your work. And I think that's appropriate. Just like the internet browser has had all this gravity in our work. We're using the browser a lot to get work done. Well, Copilot should be a part of that gravity where I'm in Copilot a lot. And when you have a tool that has a lot of gravity, switching to other tools has cost, where it's like, oh, okay, I got to do that task. Let me go do that. That's called context switching. Well, Copilot can do more for you. And in this case, maybe I'm working through some stuff and I'm doing some stuff, and I want my AI assistant to work for me, be my Copilot. And in this example, I want to throw together a meeting with some peers. And if I had a human assistant, they would kind of understand my context, and I would turn to them and say, hey, go schedule a meeting with that guy named Chandler and Dallin and Anson, and I want 45 minutes, and here's the subject. You go do that. I'm going to keep working. Well, I can have Copilot do that same exact thing now. And why can it do that? It's because Copilot is integrated in my work IQ, which is my work data, my files, my connections, my relationships, my messages. It has that intelligence. And so what it's doing, it's going and saying, okay, who is Chandler? Who is Dallin? Who is Anson? Of course, I'm in a sample persona, so that's why I'm setting up a meeting with Chandler. But who are these people that Chandler works with? And what's their availability? Let me look at their calendars really quick. And the beauty of this as well, folks, is I hope you notice, is set it and forget it, right? Like I'm going to set it on this task. I'm going to go work on something else. But usually when you're not demoing, right, it's snappy. That's just how
Yep.
this kind of sets up. You can see I've already gone ahead and done this task in preparation for our demo, and it found the right people, even though I didn't give last names, because it knows